Welcome to Franchise Marketing Radio, brought to you by SEO Samba. Comprehensive high-performing marketing solutions for mature and emerging franchise brands. To supercharge your franchise marketing, go to SEOSamba.com. That's SEOSAMBA.com.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Franchise Marketing Radio, and this is going to be a good one. Today we have with us Kelly Gray with Rapid Fired Pizza and Hot Head Burritos. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi, Lee. How are you today?
I am doing great. Before we get too far into things, why don't we talk about your work at Hot Head Burritos? How are you serving folks there?
Okay. Well, Hot Head Burritos has been around since 2017. Actually, we're surviving the COVID crisis fairly well after the initial dip and people feeling a little more secure in what's going on. So we're really happy with the success of the brand. We've got about 76 locations in 8 states on the Hot Head side. Added a curbside pickup as a result of COVID, which we kind of expect that's going to be a long-term play for us in Hot Head.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to stick around, I would say, for the next year or so.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's funny how these kind of crises, they create these sometimes an opportunity where, things can work out better than it may look like it would on paper. So that's good to see how you've adapted so quickly.
Yeah, so we're really lucky because we had adopted online ordering a couple years ago. So we were in a really good position to be able to really, push that full force. And we have a lot of people taking advantage of that. We have, double-digit increases on our online ordering usage right now.
Yeah, that's what the customer just wants to feel safe. And if you have good systems on your part and make it easier for them to get what they want, then everybody wins.
Yes.
Now, when you're expanding Hot Head, what does your the good franchisee look like for you guys?
So we have really kind of two paths that we look at. One, we're looking for a multi-brand franchisee who has other brands and who's looking to diversify their portfolio. They understand the systems of a franchise and the procedures, and they tend to be a great partner for us. And then we also like what I'd kind of consider like a mom and pop operator, where they're really putting their heart and soul into their location. And they generally tend to do a fewer number of stores, where a multi-brand operator is going to look to get to 5 to 10 stores fairly quickly.
Now, you have Hot Head Burritos, but you also have Rapid Fired Pizza. Are people buying those in combination? Are they like opening up side to side? Is there an advantage from a real estate standpoint to do something like that?
So Rapid Fire Pizza is the younger brand. It was founded in 2015. We do have several of our Hot Head franchisees who are also Rapid Fired franchisees. We only have in the chain one of those operators who has them truly side by side, but not like with a shared dining room or anything. So it's definitely an opportunity. And again, for those people who are multi-brand operators who've maybe built out their market in a specific city that they're in, there's a great opportunity for them to be a franchisee for both of our brands. And then that way they can use their personnel and management to cover, the same geographical area, but just with more locations.
Now, your background's in real estate. Can you share maybe some advice when a franchisee is buying or leasing their location? What's some things that they can avoid and maybe take advantage of?
Sure. A lot of people feel like, if they're going to, do any kind of a franchise, especially restaurants, that they have to own their real estate location. And that is really not the case. Personally, we operate 25 restaurants between the two brands, and we only own the real estate on 2 of them. And really, those are kind of more legacy type locations. And going forward, we prefer to put our capital into opening restaurants, not into owning real estate because of the additional capital requirement for down payments. But the thing that I would really recommend is to truly understand or have a picture of who your customer is and where they're at, and what their daily patterns are. Is this is it breakfast, lunch, or dinner? What's their traffic pattern? Are they coming home? Are they going to work? And as you're looking at your real estate, you want to have easy access. You want to, be where the people are. You want to make it as easy as possible for the customer to get to you. If you're a dinner type location, you don't want to be on the going to work side of the road because you have to cross too much traffic to get to the location. So that's really important. Other things that I see is really understanding the cost of your rent is extremely important. One, you can't take rent too high. Kind of the rule of thumb is your rent and occupancy cost total should be about 8% of what your projected sales are. So you want to keep that in mind as far as where you think your projected sales are going to be and what the actual rent is. And then 2, don't try to save $1 or $2 a square foot and take a subpar location that's one street off where there's less traffic and less people are going to see you. And of course, signage is king.
Now, is there any strategy with who else is in the center that you're in?
Every brand, and again, from my real estate experience, for example, I had a lot of people who love to be on a Walmart pad. For us, grocery anchored type centers, don't necessarily bode the highest average unit volumes for our stores. And the reason that is, in my opinion, would be because when people are going to the grocery store, they're going to the grocery store. A lot of times they won't stop and eat ahead of time. And once you leave the grocery store, well, now I have groceries. I can't stop and eat because my groceries will get hot or cold, depending on what time of year and where you're located at. So we like to be, for our brands, kind of between the residential, the retail, and the office. That seems to work well for our brands. And on the leasing side of it, we try to tie our sites up for a long period of time with options. So have an initial term and then have options to renew. So that way, if it's a good performing store, you stay and you renew your option at a specified price, preferably. Sometimes that's a little difficult to negotiate. And then, and if it's not a good location, it just isn't performing the way that you expected it to, you take your equipment and you relocate to a different store.
Now, when a person is considering partnering with your organization, is that something that you're like, how much do you help them when it comes to this? We help our people a lot. One, we are going to assist with the real estate selection. Ultimately, it's the franchisee's decision, but we are going to, there are some locations we just will not approve, but as a general statement, they're going to look at it, they're going to make the financial decision if the rent is going to make sense. We're going to help counsel them that, hey, based on this rent number, your sales have to be this, and it does or does not fall in what our current stores are doing. So we have a pretty good, template that they can work from. We're going to help them through the construction process. We help them with their initial store openings. We have, a 400 plus page online training and operation manual that they can reference whenever they need it to. We do the research and development for new products, and we're really available 7 days a week. We have on-staff IT department to help with any kind of POS issues that our franchisees may be having, in addition to the contracts that we have with our POS providers. And that kind of support is some of the reasons that people choose franchising as a kind of a growth model, right? Because you're there to help them. They don't have to go it alone. They don't have to have the learning curve of some of these things that you guys are doing every day.
Exactly. They don't have to go source, all their proteins, the napkins, the tables, the chairs, down to the most minute detail. We take care of that for them. We try to make our systems extremely simple. We like all of our food and paper products and everything to come in on one truck. So that way it's as easy as possible for the franchisee. We have templates for staffing. If your store is doing this volume, here's a scheduling template so that way you can plan for the number of employees that you should have to keep your labor and your food cost in check.
Now, you mentioned that there's a couple different types of potential franchisees. You have I'll call them the empire builders that are kind of having a portfolio of multiple franchises and kind of have maybe a larger vision of what this could be. And then there's some of maybe the mom and pop, maybe this is a second act, or maybe they got laid off and now they're looking for a new adventure, a new way to generate revenue for themselves. What are some of the things that each of those people should be thinking when they're deciding what's the appropriate franchise?
Some of the most important questions I think that people should think about when franchising. Well, first, should you franchise? Should you get into a franchise? Because you do have to follow systems. You're paying a fee for it, but they're helping you through the process. So can you follow the rules? And if you can, then you should analyze any of the franchises that you're looking for on a couple of different items. One, how many stores do they have open? How many have they sold? And then how many have they closed? So, a brand may have 100 stores open, but 350 franchises sold. Why do they have those 250 that haven't opened yet? So, are they just there to sell franchises, or are they there to help you get your business open? And for us, we want to help people get their businesses open. We don't want to just sell a franchise. You want to analyze between the different franchises you're looking at, what's the advertising fee that you're going to be charged, and how much of that is going to be spent in your local market. Very important, especially the smaller the franchise is, that you need to have money spent in your local market to make sure the customers can find you. Most franchises, of course, if you want to spend more money, that's great. But as an operator, you want to keep your cost in check. You would like to put a little bit of money in your pocket at the end. So you want to make sure that they're going to help you with advertising and marketing in your local area. Also, that you want to really understand that the support that's available, the opening support, how many hours or how many people are they going to supply you to help you open your store? What's the daily, what's the monthly communications? We have a monthly franchise call with all of our franchisees, and we also do a monthly newsletter. And on our personal stores, we do a monthly newsletter for our employees, where we want to communicate the operation updates that have happened over the past 30 days. So everybody understands and is doing things in the same manner. You also want to look at when you're looking at a franchise, what their food and labor percentages are, and also what's included in their food costs. When we talk to a potential franchisee and we quote our food costs, we include, paper, plastics, and chemicals in that. And a lot of brands don't. And I think it's really important to understand what your cost of operations are, because, just those papers, plastics, chemicals, and that can be 2 or 3%. And that puts you in a different range if you're looking at a business plan and trying to figure out if you can make money with the franchise. You want to understand what the technical and help that they're going to give you as far as like the POS and online support that they might be giving, and are they handling your social media in addition to your advertising? Are they monitoring your Facebook page? Are you having to monitor your Facebook page? Can you post to a Facebook page for your particular store? Some brands allow it and some brands do not. And then finally, to really look at the average unit volume for a franchise. every franchise is required to provide a franchise disclosure document, or an FDD, and we call it the section is called the item 19, and that kind of gives you the averages of the stores. We have to kind of work within guidelines and how we can present that information. But that's your best indication of, where your store might fall within, in a sales volume. I would never expect, if I was going to be a franchisee, that I could be in the top, 5 or 10%. I mean, I want to be in the top 5 or 10%, but, I'm a little more conservative when I'm investing my money. So I'm going to say, okay, if I did the average, where's that going to put me? Can I make money with this rent? Can I make money with that food cost and that labor cost?
Now, when you're kind of deciding if someone's a right fit for your enterprise, is this something that you want someone that's the boots on the ground that is in the store? Or can a person be an absentee owner and then put managers in place?
So with our brands, we will allow an absentee owner. Now, we do have a requirement that whoever your operations person is, that they have to come to training. We prefer that the franchisee come also, but there are some, especially those larger multi-brand operators, where they're going to have call it a president or a regional manager or a brand manager that is going to be involved with that. But we will allow a non-operator franchisee. I can tell you that the more removed they are from the operations, we see that negatively affects the sales. Having someone who's actively looking and actively involved, in the franchise to some degree, really helps the sales.
So in an ideal manner, they'd be kind of involved in the community, kind of plugged in, know who the high school football coaches, and kind of be kind of in the community and represent the brand in the community in order to really to be successful.
Yeah, that they need to know what's going on in their communities, but they might have, for the operator who has, let's say, 5 stores in some neighboring communities, they may live in one, but, a couple of them may be a little bit remote. But, one of our best operators are the people who own 5 stores, and they basically operate as a supervisor or a regional manager. So they go into, one store a day or a couple stores a day, and they're making sure that their managers have what they need, that they're supported. They're overseeing, making sure that the employees are portioning the food correctly, and they're not, they're treating the customers nice, and just all those little things. The more attention to the detail on that, the better success that you're going to have.
Right. There's a difference between delegating and advocating. So, they're still involved in the operations, but they may not be there physically as much as the manager is.
Exactly.
So now let's talk a little bit about rapid fire. Is the profile the same for a hot head person or the rapid fired person to be a franchisee?
Yeah, it's still the same. We're looking for the same type operator for both brands. Again, people that are attentive to it. Rapid fire, because it being a fast casual pizza concept versus a more traditional like pizza delivery concept. We look for a little denser population areas for a rapid fire. Those seem to perform well, but the great thing about fast casual pizza is you can have it for lunch now. There's no more waiting 30 minutes to get a pizza. Our pizza's cooking 3 minutes. So you walk down the line and they're putting your pizza in the oven, and you're out the door in 5-6 minutes. So it's a great opportunity for people. And then one of the innovations that we've done with our brand compared to some of our competitors, and we were really a first adopter. I like to think that they copied us, but they probably wouldn't agree with that. But, we came out with a family-sized pizza right away because, if you've got young children, they don't necessarily need to customize their pizza. A lot of times little kids just want a cheese pizza. So you get a big cheese pizza for the kids to share. Then mom and dad can get their customized pizza with their olives or mushrooms or artichokes or whatever it is that they like, customized just the way they want it.
So now, has the pandemic impacted that? I know in general, pizza has been doing pretty well in the pandemic. Is the rapid fired model conducive to, curbside and all the takeout?
Yeah, we have the curbside. We have our delivery is really through third parties, not through ourselves, like some of the larger delivery chains. The rapid fire tends to be a little more like, hey, bring the family in and dine in and have an experience. So, the transition between the dine in and the carry out has really been a little rougher on rapid fire than it has on Hot Head. But, the product's great. It transports well. And, we have a lot of options besides the pizza, pasta, salads, calzones. So there's really something for everyone. And we have a lot of people who follow the keto diet who love rapid fire because we have what they call a no-dough pizza, which basically is a pizza made in kind of a disposable pizza pan that has no dough. And you build it just like a regular pizza and you eat it with a fork, and it is amazing, and you don't feel cheated like you didn't get to eat pizza. You feel full and that you really are satisfied. And the people following the keto, paleo type diets, not quite paleo, but they really like it.
Good stuff. So what's the most rewarding part of the job for you nowadays? Is it, onboarding a new franchisee? Is it making the sale? What's the part that gets you fired up?
I love when we have a franchisees whose stores, that they're really working in their store and they're building their sales on a consistent basis. And then, before you know it, hey, they're buying a new house or they're buying a new car, and then we're improving their lifestyles. And when they really embrace it, and then they're able to help their managers improve their lifestyles, I mean, that's really, what it's all about. I mean, we love growing our store count. That's great, but we really want people to, have a good life and make money, and have fun doing it and not struggle.
Amen to that. Now, the pandemic has caused a lot of uncertainty for a lot of folks, but the franchise world tends to benefit when this is happening. Are you finding that a lot more people are inquiring about the opportunity?
We have a lot of our existing franchisees are looking to add additional stores. We are having a lot of franchise inquiries. The little bit of a challenge that we're having right now with the space that we're in, which is restaurants, we are on both brands. We're an SBA approved franchise, so you can get an SBA loan to do one of our concepts. But the lending environment is really tightening due to the pandemic, and the most recent responses that I've got from franchisees and potential franchisees is the requirement for additional capital down payments from the bank, whereas 20% used to be sufficient for your full cost of build out. I'm hearing 30 to 40%.
Wow.
So that will impact everybody, not just us. That's going to impact a lot of growth for franchises because that, if I had to put down 40%, well, wow, that used to be, I could have got 2 stores
right.
for what I have to put down in cash for 1.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's crazy. So that does create challenges, but so on one hand, there's a lot more inquiries, but then now it's more challenging to get the funding in order to pull it off. That's tough.
Yes.
So now,
for existing restaurant operators, it's a little easier go. But if you're the person who just got laid off and you're wanting to take your severance and get into the restaurant business, it's just going to require a little more capital, or maybe a little bit of partnerships with friends or family to kind of help get you over the finish line.
Right, you have more creativity, I guess, in that regard. Now, if somebody wanted to learn more about the opportunity for either Rapid Fired or Hot Head, what are the websites?
So hotheadburritos.com and Rapid Fired with a D. I always like to say rapidfiredpizza.com, and you can get information. You can inquire on franchises. You can look at our locations. We also have Both brands have a nutrition calculator, so for people who are really conscientious on what they're eating, you can go on there to a nutrition calculator and plug in exactly what you're going to have and know how many calories, how many fat grams, what kind of sodium you're looking at for everything.
Good stuff. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Thank you very much for having me, Lee.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on Franchise Marketing Radio.